Dimitri Downing back here with my co-host Mike, who just got nominated, designated co-host for this podcast. But he's from Dime, and the Dime guys do anything. He's ready. He's ready to ask questions. He came with his own shades. He knows how to do a podcast. You're the co-host tonight, Mike.
All right, let's round it up.
So we grabbed another. Of course, Mike's here. He's interesting. Everybody out there knows him. Everybody knows Dime. We can talk about that later. But we grabbed a couple more interesting people that are hanging out here at MITA doing a little project. Want to introduce them to the audience out there so you can get to know them and a little bit know about who they are and what they do. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my pleasure. My name is Brian Watson, and I am the founder and owner of Black River Life Media. And what we do is we share culturally relevant media. We focus on media that's local and try to tell stories that are important to just the local community.
Excellent.
Awesome. And my name is Faith Powell, and I am doing...
You got to speak up a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm not sure why we can't hear her.
I'm not sure either.
You might have to project.
Say it with my chest.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my name is Faith Powell, and I am conducting the interviews here with Brian tonight, and we are kind of just having some discussions around the safety surrounding hemp-based THC and doing some interviews just on how everyone's enjoying the event and things like that. So.
Well, you know, Mike knows more about the vape pen stuff, the Delta 8 stuff, this subject than I do. I mean, we could talk some high level stuff, and then
you want us to get like a little scientific? I'm all about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Then Mike will drop the wisdom on us. So, what do you guys? First of all, what are your impressions of MITA? This is your first ever MITA.
So I love it. Right, this is kind of like Coachella of marijuana, the Lollapalooza of weed, and to me, it's just exceptional. You know, you get the opportunity to see so many different cannabis brands all at once. You get to network with a lot of people who work in the cannabis industry. You get to understand what's coming up next. You get to see people who constantly exchange ideas around what's happening in cannabis to grow, not just grow cannabis, but grow the industry of cannabis.
Excellent. Faith, what are your impressions so far?
So this is definitely one of my very first events here, and I'm honestly just blown away. There's so many different opportunities in terms of like networking. I've met a bunch of different people, and I've gotten to get a lot of different opinions on just the cannabis industry in general. And as someone who's fairly new, I've definitely learned a lot, so I'm enjoying myself for sure.
And so you guys are focusing on one topic tonight. We can focus on that. The difference between Delta 8, Delta 9, vape pens, testing, regulations,
right? What's
going on with that whole stuff? What are you guys finding people are saying and telling you guys? Before Mike and I drop the wisdom bombs.
I'm not going to kill on anyone. I'm pro D8 and D9 in my book. It gives different highs to different people, especially different euphoric feelings from going into situations. You get full spectrum from a D9, but you can still get that same, basically, presence or ambiance that you come with the D8. D8 does have some derivatives that come back in cannabinoid spectrums, but D9, it's honestly yin and yang when it comes down to the weed. A lot of people like the heavier hit things, more euphoric and more lively head high is more of the D8. So it just comes on what you really want in life.
So yeah, and I hear people describe it as weed light, you know, and it should be available to consumers and patients. Everything should be available to consumers, patients. I'm a libertarian. The cannabis movement is based upon freedom and choice. There's been too much probation. There's been too much hate. There's been too much negativity that's resulted from all the civil and criminal sanctions that have been developed around this plant. But we do need to develop safe products, and I think that's the kicker of what's kind of going on in the industry right now, nationwide, being talked about. You know, and the underlying theme, and I'll get you into the really deep underlying theme here so you can drop some knowledge about what's going on. But everybody wants testing.
Right.
And when you process something, it should be tested, and people should know what's in it. Doesn't matter if it's a vitamin, if it's water. If you're processing something and you're changing the natural aspect of it, it should be tested before it goes to consumers. Now, how those regulations work, how that market structure works, who gets to sell it, is a big question. Personally, I'm not sure if flower needs to be tested. I mean, except for actually grow it on a large commercial scale, you might have pesticides. But how much is lettuce tested? You know, I really don't know. So it should be close to like agricultural levels. But regarding
I'm gonna step in with that. Flour needs to be tested.
Needs to be tested.
Yeah, because of the humidity produced and enhancing the flour to make it flour, and how we contain and control how it buds and gives us the actual weed that it produces.
Right.
There's a lot of things that go into that. If you don't take care of it like a baby, you can add mold, aspergillus. There's a lot of different variables that go into it that we can go deteriorate and actually harm a person if it's not controlled right. The old days of just smoking mom and pop's back door, they were getting sick because they were smoking like a product that was not controlled the right way. And nowadays we need to control it the right way, because it would take away with all those sicknesses, those pesticides, we'll say the molds or anything else, and we have the best product. That's why we strive to have those exotics or those best flower strains. And you see all those crystallites that come on that happens when it's not deteriorated, or there's not dust mites or flower mites or spider mites that come on it, or mold, if it's not controlled or right humidity. It all goes into like the science spectrum of it. Yes, we can get high off any flower that's grown out of there. It can be male, female, we can get it with seeds or not, bro. But what we're looking for is the best for the product, best for the consumer, best taste, best basically full spectrum, and basically best genre what we're looking for. We wanted to enhance our indica sativa hybrid, going down the spectrum of that. So there is a side of that of you want the flower tested, but at the same time I don't want to be too stickler on it, but I want it to be, you don't want to bring an alcohol that's just fucking moonshine in the back and you don't know what the hell you're drinking.
I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here, because I'm trying to explain the difference in perceptions upon how this plant is treated. Like, and of course, you want fine products. Use Dime, obviously. Their standards are really high. But I also have to give respect to my uncle in Oaxaca, who's in the mountains, who's growing weed, who's been selling it and using it to, as a tincture and other things for 100 years, and it's never been tested.
Correct.
But as you said, with the modern trends, with the processing, with the commercialization, with the manufacturing, the pesticides, all the stuff that go into these massive grows, it's changed.
Correct.
Right.
So so it's not like I'm trying to disrespect either perspective. I'm just trying to go the broad spectrum. But I always wonder about, where's the farmer's market right to cannabis? Where is that? Where has that gone?
That's a great point.
And of course that needs to go away with large scale manufacturing. And when you produce a vape pen, you want to make sure it's tested properly. Like Dime puts it through rigorous testing and product control, so you make sure you're getting something safe.
Right.
And I totally get that. But the consumers and the patients need to understand the two incredibly divergent perspectives before they can kind of understand where they want to settle in the middle somewhere.
Right.
And me, I might just smoke with my uncle in Oaxaca, and I'm not going to say, did you test that shit?
Hey, I'm smoking up a doobie with him, rolled up a blunt with him, and rolling up. I ain't going to say shit. If I start coughing later, I don't know.
But I'll tell you what, deep in the mountains of Mexico, if they show up with some extracted stuff, I'm going to be like, what the hell did you extract that with?
You give him a little one of these.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so it's just an understanding of what's going on, having discussions, having this education. Right now, there's a lot of, hemp, CBD derived stuff, and who should. A lot of that debate isn't really about. Everybody agrees that it should be tested.
Right.
A lot of the debate is about who should sell it and who has the right to sell it. And the federal hemp bill and all this stuff happened so that all these hemp producers can produce Delta 8, Delta 9. And quite frankly, a lot of the pushback is from the existing market that doesn't want to lose control over its share. Now, that's the truth. Then they have a legitimate argument like, hey, we're the ones who know how to test and regulate and sell it properly, so we're the ones who should be allowed to sell it. But then you got the hemp producers who are like, well, how does that work, and how do we play into that? So there's a natural tension between the different parties and the different interests and the different agendas, and that exists in the cannabis industry in many, many different aspects, not just with Delta 8, but in retail, cultivation, manufacturing. And it's going to get a little bit more crazy as soon as interstate commerce happens and national legalization happens.
Federal,
you're going to see these conflicts happening more and more. And I say let them happen publicly.
Right. And I think to your point, and I think for me, I want people to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do. It's a free country and what have you. Yet at the same time, my concern is if it's not regulated and it's being introduced to the public, we have a public health concern. And then particularly, where are you selling this, right? Because for the most part, from what it is that I've understood is that a lot of the THC, hemp-based THC is being sold at gas stations and convenience stores and in places where, there's more poor people who would have access to that THC. And yes, it may be affordable, but yet at the same time, the concerns that we should have is making sure that we're not creating a public health issue, and not doing something where, although the commerce is one thing and the demand that the public might have for it is another, we still hold the responsibility as people who are doing business in places that we're making sure that it's safe. You know what I mean? Or we're not creating something that could have hazards long term, especially when we're talking about something that's synthetic.
So I have the answers to your questions. You are concerned.
Yeah.
You are scared. You are, let's just say, afraid of certain things happening.
Cautiously, because we understand that you're a consumer in more ways than what you're putting it in your body. That's my concern.
I must not fear.
Okay.
Fear is the mind killer.
I'm familiar with that.
Fear is the death that obliterates the mind. I will face my fear. I will let it pass through me, and then I will live as if it doesn't exist. Remember that. This is what I have learned in my 10 years of the cannabis industry, and thank God for fucking Mike, because I'm still in the fucking cannabis industry because of him and Dime. But the wisdom that I want to share with others is God created freedom.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you don't believe in God? Mother Nature created freedom. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're a creationist or an evolutionist. When Adam and Eve decided to bite that apple,
right,
it was for free will, it's for free choice. When the monkeys decided to leave the trees, stop collecting berries and nuts, and go kill a squirrel by the neck, it was free will and free choice. That existed. That's the world that existed. Everything human beings have created since then is a retardation of the truth. It doesn't matter if you're a creationist or an evolutionarist. You know what else didn't exist at that time? Government.
Okay.
All these rules, all these laws are created by man to impede and to morph and to push agendas.
Get their piece of the pie.
Get their piece of the fucking pie. And they're retarding God's will if you're a creationist, or Mother Nature's will if you're evolutionarist.
Okay.
So I always say, ask yourself, what would God do? And if God doesn't talk to you, fortunately he talks to me, talk to Mother Nature. Mother Nature also talks to me, and then you'll get your answer. Freedom. Choice.
I'm with you up to a point.
So,
right? Because God is one thing, man is another. And man tends to do things unto his own devices.
Right.
And with that in mind, man does not mind, doing things that might seemingly be unscrupulous for the purposes of being able to get themselves ahead. And the understanding at that point is that you have your own mind to make your own decisions. I have my own mind to make my own decisions. Right. If you're foolish enough to participate in something that is synthetic and very contrary to cannabis, in the concept of cannabis being, hey, it's grown, it's green, it's from the earth. Now, when you talk about synthetic, that's in a lab, right? That's almost bordering, the opioid concept, right?
You can also say synthetic both ways when fucking hemp's coming out there and derive it to a THC
Brian,
variant. That's synthetic in a whole prospect too.
Look,
I'm on his side about this.
Look, if you want reality, talk to him. Okay, he's in the valley, he's in the trenches. Okay, yeah. I have been to the mountaintop, and I have climbed down the other side and lived in that village, and then climbed back to the top of that mountain. And all I can tell you is, as soon as you release your fear of your fellow man, your mind will free yourself into clearer thinking. Right. And that's liberty. That's freedom. That's deregulation.
Right.
That's not reality. He's right. That's reality. I live in an entirely different world, my friend. And my goal, Mike's like, good.
I want to live there. Fuck it.
No. So when I can look upon my fellow man with no more fears, my mind is clean. And then if they ask me about a fucking law, regulation, statute, I can read that shit all day long. I went to law school. My mind comes at it with perspective. Like, I don't want to create a world where my fellow man lives in fear or makes decisions based in fear.
Yeah.
So that's just my weird twist and warp
I feel like
shit.
you can go
Don't
wrong
mind
on
me.
either side.
Don't mind me.
You can go wrong on the side of regulation. You can go wrong on the side of just go out there and do it, and there's no restriction. The point that I'm trying to make is the fact that we should all have a healthy concern in how it is that we access, whether we're talking about cannabis or we're talking about hemp or hemp-based THC that is synthetic. We want to know and make sure that people are being responsible because as we know, the population itself may not necessarily govern themselves in terms of how it is that they treat recreational cannabis or recreational hemp. And so we want to make sure that we're helping them in the process of being able to make good decisions. And so the things that we make available to them, we're not pushing things out there that though they trust us, maybe they shouldn't.
I'll tell you, I absolutely agree with you. This is why I support, the reality that we live at hand. I agree. I accept it. Me, I just happen to be so strong and so capable that I can make my own choices. I have my own knowledge. I have an incredible base.
Is like you.
Right.
We wish they had the perception.
That's where I'm just trying to live.
Preach the gospel of Dimitri.
But I'm trying to pull us in that direction.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull us in that direction because freedom is all we have. Choice is all we have. And every well-intended regulation, law, rule, foundational decision that has created some of the most horrific decisions that humanity has ever lived with since Adam and Eve or evolution tends to end up poorly. So my faith in man is okay. I'm not scared of you, but I'm not going to give you any power over me. That's for sure. So that's my caution.
No, I think you're right.
So I look at these things like, the way that Dime has to do things and does things, it's a necessary evil. But let's never forget that it's evil and it's not God's will and it's not Mother Nature's will. That's just my thinking.
100.
What the hell do I know?
Right.
You know a lot, Mr.
Faith,
Law
what are your
School.
thoughts? We're over here having this conversation. What's your thoughts on it?
Yes, Faith, sorry, we're just jumped in here.
Oh, no worries. I mean, based on kind of everything that I've kind of gathered here tonight, I kind of agree just on keeping things regulated. I mean, what you know, and I feel like that makes things a little bit more trustworthy. And just if you don't know much about it, I think it can be pretty intimidating to be like, well, what is this and where is it coming from? And like I said, as someone who's new to the cannabis industry, that's kind of my point of view on just everything that we've kind of talked about.
I hear you. I'm just going to go back to my grandmother's village, which is down on the other side of that mountaintop. That very, very, that's very. I mean, we're talking about the jungles deep in southern Mexico.
Right.
There's very few processed anything. Are you in?
I would like to go. I would love to go to Oaxaca and Guerrero.
I've been on the ayahuasca trip down there. I'll be saying it was worth it in a million ways.
I don't even use any hallucinogenics. So, folks, we've had another great episode of MITA Unshackled. We want to thank Dime always for being in the house. Their crew comes in force. There's all kinds of cool people. Hit up Mike, stop him. He's the man around here. This is his home too. And you guys, you gonna be back?
Yeah, of course. And we're gonna bring people with us too.
They're part of the gang now, baby. Family.
So we're gonna head up to the bar to do the serious networking. That's where the deal action happens. There's just so many things going on here. I always wonder how many people got laid tonight because of MITA. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it says one love right here, baby. That's
One
how we're
love.
going to keep
One
it
love.
up.
One love.
Hey, we support all families and we
Yeah.
support Dimitri. We love MITA. Love coming here. We support the cause. We're supporting Arizona. We support
Bless up
the
yourself.
rights of everybody, and we want to preach the gospel of all marijuana products and make sure it gets in everyone's hands. Hopefully it becomes legalized at some point. But yeah, we're here to have a good time, make sure everyone sees what we have to offer, and I want to make sure that I meet good people like the fellow gentlemen
Brian.
and women over here.
How do they get in touch with you, Brian?
So you can find me at blackriver.life, and that's on IG, that's on Facebook, that's on the website. That's all the content that we create. You'll see it there. All the conversations that we're having, even today, it'll be there, and we hope you connect with us.
And they can find Faith that way too?
Through him, my personal Instagram is fai.t followed by 5 H's, and if you need to contact me, that's also my personal
And Mike, you're going to be back to co-host some more podcasts?
Bro, bring me on. I'll teach the gospel. Let's make it happen.
All right. And how people get in touch with you?
Dime.industries, Dime, Arizona. We have California, Oklahoma, Colorado, Arizona, soon to be 3 other states. We're also in Canada. We're kind of taking it international, as Dimitri knows. International is the way to go.
Yes,
so
indeed.
That's the goal here. And then we're going one love, baby.
Dime. Going to be one of the first great brands of the global cannabis industry. We'll see you on the next MITA Unshackled.